Okay, so I'm going to try to make this video short, I think. Let's see what happens. Yeah, right now I got the web version, the web build, build 0.2, which you could play. Just go to ogar.github.io, and you know what? Let's just go there. And it's right there, that top link. And if you want to see some of my other stuff, if you play WoW, I've got a mouse look add-on. If you are an XR developer, I've got a little joystick you can mess with. And some older games. This last one here is broken because the website owner, I guess, got hacked or something. But yeah, this is my first FPS. But for right now, let's take a look at Thorn Survivors. And on the initial screen, not much has changed. I did change the highlight for when you're selecting the character. I temporarily got rid of the additional characters just because they don't have any abilities set up with them. So we just have this one guy, Cryo Pyro, and yeah, so now there's no highlighting whatsoever until you mouse over, and then boom. I would like to change this even more to make it, instead of this square, probably going to do like a silhouette of the character, but I don't know. This also, I don't know, because I need to move on to my other game. It's time, so I got to see if I'm gonna just work on this game for one more week, or I was thinking of setting up a schedule where, probably Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday would be streaming of the VR development for Data Monsters, and then Saturday would be streaming of this game, and then probably on I guess devlogs. I don't know. Then I have to do two devlogs. I guess I'll have to figure that out on my own time. All right, so let's go into the game. Click on the guy. Now it does look a little bit worse, actually, kind of, sorta, because of all this flickering going on. I think right now I have the enemy spawner following the player around, so it spawns enemies wherever the player goes. But I might change that because you probably also noticed I added walls here. Having it infinite was really cool, but I had this problem of all the player had to do was just walk straight in a direction, and they were basically untouchable, at least by these slow guys. I suppose once I added in faster enemies, that wouldn't be the case. But it is what it is. I guess I could always go back to that implementation if I want to. And then now you also see I've got the upgrades window working. Now there is only one upgrade at the moment, Pierce +1, and I think I'm going to change this actually to being a floor pickup. I'm not sure. Again, I got to try to keep this simple as possible. But I got a system going where it's going to be, at least for now, a modification or a new ability. A modification will change that character's core ability, that character's basic ability. So this guy shoots fireballs, and I could keep getting additional abilities, but the modifier is only going to modify their core ability. I might add more things, but probably not. I want to keep it simple. And right now, it's just Pierce +1. So if I click this, now my fireball penetrates through, let's see if I can get it, penetrates through one enemy and then dies on the second enemy. I also have it set up so that the timer grows. So the further into the game you go, the longer you have to wait to get an upgrade. That'll probably change, but for now it's just something so I can test. Let's see. I think it's going to be like 30 seconds now. Ooh. Now, I don't have any HP being shown on the screen, but the player does have HP. And let's just do +1 again. And now I can go through one, let's see, 1, 2, and it should hit a third enemy. I don't know if you guys can see that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now it pierces an additional target. So I've created a system where I can just increment various attributes of the basic ability. Now there are some other things I want to fix. You notice, like, when I walk by, all the enemies rotate tick 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 tick. That doesn't look very good. It might just have to stay like that. But yeah. Anyways, let's see. I have been getting hit a couple times. I think I maybe set the HP to 10. Let me get hit a few more times. Oh, and that's it. I ran out of HP. Back to the start screen. But that's pretty much it. Quite a bit has changed though. I've implemented the beginnings of the upgrades, and now I've got this wall system. Now the wall is small right now. I'm either going to make it start very big or start very small like this, and then either add maybe one of the modifiers can be stage size. So instead of modifying your ability, you make the stage a little bit bigger, which gives you more space to walk. Or I can make it so that the game starts with a huge stage and it gets harder by the stage tightening and tightening, closing in on you. Now, some other problems, we have these enemies being stopped by the wall. Either I'm going to make it so that the enemies can pass through the wall, but the player can't, or I'm going to change the way the enemies spawn so that, so that they only spawn within the confines of the stage. But yeah, with that being said, let's take a look at Unity. Now, oops. If I just toggle some things on, we do have the other players. I still will have abilities to switch between them, or not players, other characters. This screen hasn't changed much besides some of the UI, which I might change a little bit more since that's not too difficult. Also, this game runs pretty well so far, even on my like Celeron whatever laptop that's ancient and the screen's falling off. Now it is a little slow on that one, but after about 10 seconds it works pretty smoothly. But whatever, I'm getting derailed. But since I'm on that derailed topic, mobile, this is WebGL. It does work on my phone, but none of the sprites render correctly when I play mobile. So I don't know what that's about. I'm also going to add in. I'm also going to add a little mobile joystick or mobile controls so that you can play on the phone, and I'm also going to make it one-handed. Like right now, you have to click with the mouse to select the character, and then you have to use WASD or arrow keys to move around. I'm going to make it so that you can just navigate everything with directional WASD and space, or arrow keys and space, or maybe enter, something like that. I think that'll be a way better experience. Anyhow, let's go. Oops. So, I don't know what I changed, but yeah, save. So, here's how the game works right now. We have the player. The player is what you're moving. This parent object makes everything else follow it. And then we have our abilities here, and the abilities are off by default, or else they self-destruct, and that causes problems. Originally, I had a prefab, and the character's basic ability. So if I go each character, it doesn't have it on the other ones, but on CryoPyro, you have the character basic attack script, and you're going to plop in a basic attack. I'm actually going to make that probably an array for multiple abilities so that you can switch them. I plan on having it so that when you press spacebar, your character has some kind of ability. Like this guy is going to switch between fire and ice. Another character is going to put people to sleep, etc. So I've got to adjust that. But anyhow, each character will have its own basic attack. And originally, the basic attack was being pulled from a prefab. But the problem with using a prefab is I can't alter the original prefab's data. Unity will get upset at me. I can force it, but that just seems dangerous. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's not. But since it's giving me that warning, I was like, you know what, let me play it safe and not force these changes for data corruption. And instead of having traditional prefabs, I'm having these like pseudo prefabs where I'm just duplicating this disabled version of the object and then creating clones of it that spawn in the right position, but in the open world so that they can move and shoot and self-destruct and all that. Now, what's good about this is when an ability starts, I don't have to tell it to all of a sudden get all these additional inputs. Like if I have pierce and burst and I don't know, burn and floor thing, I don't have to tell each one of these because they could be spawning really fast, like less than a second each instance. So instead, I just modify this like pseudo prefab, and then when I make a clone of it, it will already have all that information that it needs to have. It doesn't need to be added in additionally. But yeah, there is some problems with this. Like for some reason, the collision with the walls isn't happening correctly, so that's something I got to figure out. What else is new? I have stage now. So stage is just what I'm calling the wall system, and basically all that is you have an initial stage between 10 and 50. I can always change those numbers. And I got my 4 walls here, and so whatever number I set that to is how far to the north, south, east, or west those walls will be placed when the game starts. And then this script here also, I haven't set it up fully yet. I wonder if how much did I set up here? Oops. This is a super simple script. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have this public method for setting the stage size. So even though we have this initial size, I can always set the size later. So maybe on level up, the size shrinks by an increment, or maybe there's a certain enemy that when it dies, it can set the stage size to a certain thing, or I don't know, whatever I want to do. In fact, I'm probably going to change this from a public method to just receiving some type of event. No, that wouldn't work because it'd have to be, too many things would have to have an event. This is probably the way to do it. Or another option would be to have a scriptable object, and then, but then I would have to be listening on update to when that object's value gets changed. I don't know, I'm gonna leave it like this for now, but yeah. While we're in the code, what else we got here? Player animation. I don't think I changed anything here. This is all the same. I did change some stuff with character here. This character class is probably not named really correctly. This is more like a character announcement. Since the character is being selected after start or during start, I should say it's being selected after awake, the player doesn't know what animator to grab. So the player has to wait for whichever character is turned on based on the scriptable object that's set in the main screen, and then it's going to say, hey, I'm here. Here's my animator, and here's my basic attack. And then the things that need the animator and the basic attack will be like, oh, I got the right one. Let's go. Otherwise, I would have to cycle through each character and cycle through all of their abilities and attacks and stuff. I could be wrong, but I think this is probably the most efficient way to do this. It's like a one and done. The character turns on, and then the pieces that need to know this information get it one time, and that's it. Ready to go. Character basic attack. Oh, I did change projectile a little bit. Originally, I had projectile, and then I was going to have abilities that inherit from it. But that made it more difficult to find those abilities. So like on level up, when I go to modify the ability, I don't want to use strings to tell it, like, if this is the character, use that one. I'm able to just grab it. So like on character enable, right? We're able to get the projectile, we'll say, since character is giving everything that's a part of this class, we just need to have one event. Now, sorry for scratching my nose. I got real bad allergies. Oh my goodness. It's really itchy. Where was I at here? Now, this does mean that certain classes get access to more information than they need. Like projectile does not need to have access to the animator, but the alternative would be to have an event for every single thing that happens. So I think the trade-off is okay. Anyways, so the character script gives an event with itself, meaning it gives an event with these components, with a pointer. I don't know if that's the right word for C#, with a reference to these components, and then level up needs to have these components because it needs to say, well, what ability is being modified, or what character am I putting this new ability onto, and I can get all that through the character script. So now I do have this lengthy trail of dots, but whatever, not the end of the world, I don't think. So character, the basic attack script, which is provided in the character script, and then from that basic attack script we can get the actual basic attack that's being used, and then we can get the component, the projectile component from that, and make changes to it. Now I just realized something. When this character switches between fire and ice, I'm probably just going to have to, I'm probably going to just have to change the particles. That's something I have to figure out. But for now, this is what we got, one step at a time. Yeah, so now, and it does have to do this little, this line of code here is not the most efficient, but it only has to do it one time, and then boom. This script has what it needs to know for the rest of the game. And then this also is probably going to change. I might make it to a switch statement or something. This is really like rough to look at, but no big deal. We have also, this should probably go on top, but whatever. Hasn't been a problem so far. And then easy peasy, I can access all the public variables from projectile, and it'll be that specific projectile, and I could just modify it, easy peasy, projectile collision limit ++. So in projectile, where we have on collision enter, every time the projectile hits something, it's going to increase its collision count. Now, if we hit a wall, which this isn't working for some reason, I want it to destroy. I don't think I want it to penetrate through walls. It just looks out of place. But other than that, if we're hitting an enemy and the collision limit has to be greater than 1, because right, 1 collision would be the first enemy hit, and the collision count is less than the collision limit, then we do nothing. We return. Otherwise, we self-destruct. So, pretty much, if I'm only allowed to hit one target, then boom, I hit one target. If I'm allowed to hit more, then I hit more. This has worked out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. And yeah, what else is new? I'm going to be changing the enemy spawner, probably. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I do have, on the level up canvas, I do have some stuff in place. Like I have the buttons ready. Now these pictures are just placeholders. To be honest, I think I might just do text. Again, one of my huge goals for this is to be as minimal as possible. Like, I'm not trying to get a whole bunch of assets. I'm not trying to make a whole bunch of assets. I'm going to have to make the particle effects, and I'm going to have to make sounds. But other than that, for visuals, it's just whatever's built into Unity and that one asset pack that I got, the Blackthorn Prod asset pack, which this is not in any way sponsored by them. That's probably not the right word, but they don't know I'm making this. Maybe they find out, and then that'd be cool to talk to them. But otherwise, this is just me doing things on my own accord. It just seemed like that pack had enough stuff and it had good enough quality and it was free, which was the big selling point, that I just went with it for my sort of limitations project that I'm doing here. The other project, Data Monsters, that is a no limitations project. That's something I plan to do for the next 3, 4, or 5 years probably. That's going to have a lot of asset iterations and a whole lot more. This is just a little project just cause. For the level up canvas, I'm doing a similar thing to how I'm doing the characters with their abilities. Now this might change, but so far it's worked out pretty well. So like I have a mod select button and an ability select button. Now the ability select button, I turned it on for now, but it doesn't do anything besides go to the next level. I'm gonna turn that back off. So here I am making these game objects. Now I wanted to do prefabs, but then again, I can't make adjustments to those prefabs later. And so I just said, you know what? Let's just have the game objects in there. They're not going to take up that much space. It's basically nothing. In this case, it's literally just an image. So right now, what having a game object does, instead of having all this run in code, is it just makes it easier to access. So I can, is it in Game Manager? Yeah. So I can just plop in these game objects, and then whatever name I give it is the name that the text will have. Like right now it says modifier, but let's see if it'll work if it's already on. No, we're gonna have to wait the time. I'm not gonna wait. But anyways, where's my head at here? And that's interesting that it turned off by default. I don't think I told it to do that. Maybe I must have. Anyways, the name of the game object will be the text. So that makes it really easy for me to change the names of things. I don't have to go into the code and change a string. And if there's a typo and there's problems, I just plop in the game objects, and I have an array of them. I can put them in whatever order I want, but the order does matter. That's probably the biggest flaw here is Pierce +1 is the first modifier on the list, and I'm using the index or the element index of the arrays to determine which ability or how to tell the basic ability which mod to apply. So the order matters big time. Not the best way to do it, but it's a start. To be honest, I was having a bit of trouble trying to abstract the whole scope of the abilities because there's a lot of things needing to know where to go or where to put things, but not actually having that information. Hopefully that makes sense. So wrapping my head around that was pretty troublesome. So I just decided to go with what I thought could work for now, and then I can maybe change it around how I need to later. I don't know. We'll see. But this is the way my brain went about it. Yeah, what else is there to talk about? I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I think that's it. Nice short video. I think it's short. We'll find out. Yeah, if you stuck to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Like it, please. Please. I'm new to this whole thing, and I know it takes time to build an audience, but the faster the better. That would be great. One of the big purposes of doing these devlogs is to get some attention for the main game, Data Monsters, even if it is just by the attention of other game developers. That attention's great because I'm not a particularly social person, and I do not want to be going onto TikTok or Instagram or whatever trying to like show off. That's like one of my least favorite things to do. So yeah, please subscribe so you can stay tuned for other devlogs that I do and other announcements that I make. And while I'm on my extended vacation here, I'm going to be streaming most days. Probably later today I'll be streaming. I think my schedule is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then also a bonus one on Saturday. I don't know. I might take Monday off. It might just be Tuesday. Well, in that case, I guess I could say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that might just be it. We'll see. And I also might just do it because I'm bored. Having a schedule is going to be tricky because the way I normally work is I just take breaks whenever I want. I program, I run into a hard problem, and I step away and I go do something else for 30 minutes. I come back with a refreshed mind. And on the stream, I can't really do that. I'm like sort of locked in, and not in a good way. So either I have to adjust to that, or I just pop in and out of stream whenever I want. But I know that's a bad idea. I know having a schedule is really good. I don't know. If, again, you stuck to the end, leave a comment. Tell me what you think I should do. Like, teach me. Go for it. I would love to know. All right. Later.